What's up everyone, Brian Phobos here. Today we're going to talk about the SmartCash SmartNodes. This isn't going to be a full guide on how to set them up, but I'm going to reference you to some other stuff and kind of point out some important points that I didn't see. You know, it's touched on some other stuff, but maybe not as apparent. So one of the things that's going to happen, and if you're like me, my coins were stuck out on Cryptopia. As soon as they opened up withdrawals, I hurried up, downloaded the newest wallet, and then sent the coins over there. And then as I started in the guide, I kind of realized, well, once I make this smartcash.conf file, then, and I try to start back up the wallet, you end up with this error. You need to rebuild database using re-index chain state to change TX index. And at that point, I was, you're like, whoa, okay, wait, what do I need to do here? I don't want to hose my system. You don't want to lose 10,000 smart cash. So I basically did abort, and then just make sure your wallet's backed up. You're going to back up the wallet.dat file, and then you can also back up your private keys. So this goes into how to do that. File, backup wallet, and then you can save that over on a thumb drive, that .dat file, and then, or an external hard drive, kind of get it somewhere else where, you know where it's at, and you're safe. Private keys, you can get those by doing file and then the receiving address, and whatever address your coins are in, you can then, copy that address and then go to help and then debug window, and then go to the console tab right here. And then in this command text box, you can do dump priv key space and then your SmartCash address that you had copied from the previous step. That way you can back up the private key, you can do the other, and and then basically then when you re-add this smartcash.conf file, then like you could either hit OK when this error comes up, or you can do another method where you basically bring in all the blocks from a zip file. We'll go over that here in a second. But also another main thing I want to mention that's maybe it's hit on, but you're going to have to transfer 10,000 smart in one transaction, exactly 10,000. You can't just have like, let's say you had like 10,100 over in your wallet, and then you're thinking, okay, well, it should be able to tell that I have that in my wallet. It's actually like you have to do the transaction of exactly that, and you're going to use the transaction ID as a reference in one of the comp files that actually kind of like validates that you have that many coins like at a certain address. That'll make more sense once you kind of go through the guide and all that. But if you send it now, okay, let's say you sent all your coins over to the wallet, and then you're like, oh man, this is a headache. Do I need to send them back to the exchange and then get all this straightened out here and then send them from the exchange back to the wallet? And you don't need to do that. You can actually generate another address within the same wallet and send your coins from one address in your wallet to another address in your wallet, exactly 10,000. So you're not going to screw yourself by doing that portion. So one of the things, and I would say, like, let's say after you watch this video, after you watch my video, and maybe kind of get a little bit of reference, especially if you ran into this file or you ran into this error, and then you're a little bit confused of kind of where to start or what the best course of action is. I would say kind of watch this video if you're already into it, and then go ahead and watch Girls Gone Smart. Watch the video that applies to you, either Mac OS 10 or Windows. If you're running the QT wallet out of Linux, like I am, I mean, really the only big difference is, where the files are stored. So it's like username and then .smartcash because it's a hidden directory. That's the big difference. And then maybe the way you're SSHing in, like depending on what tools you're going to try to use to do that portion of it. That's really the only difference there. You're gonna have to like improvise a little bit. So I'd say watch those, and then if you're in the guide already, you know, if you're over here, you know, in the guide going through it, I would say skim through that. So I'd say watch the video, Girls Gone Smart, then kind of skim down through this, and then maybe skim over my Steemit post again, just to kind of get a baseline and kind of like understand what's going to happen, or, you know, what you need to do and to address something like this so that you don't lose coins. Then ultimately, you definitely need to be kind of going off of the guide. I wouldn't just go off the video. She did a great job on the videos, but just encompassing everything that needed to be done. There just were a couple things that was like, I could see how somebody could kind of glaze over and not realize what she was talking about at certain points. But these are great videos. So they are going to be very helpful. So going back to this though, and sorry we're a little bit all over the place. There just is a lot of things kind of going on with this whole SmartNode setup. So when you're in your directory, and this is one of the things I'm saying, like if you end up with this error because all your coins were in there, you back up, you know, your private key, back up your wallet.dat file, and you know, and then you, let's say once you add the smartcash.conf file again, you could hit OK, it'll resync it, but then if you want to do this quicker, you can actually download the zip file and then basically replace the blocks and the chain state directories into that directory. So in there, here's what I did. So I'd already synced the blockchain. I was like, okay, well, if I hose this, I want to be able to get back to like what I had before. So I just renamed the directories old dash chain state, old dash blocks. Then when I unzip this, and then I put those directories over in this same directory with everything else, smartcash.conf and smartnode.conf, wallet.dat, you know, your basically your .smartcash folder. So I put those over there. Then when you start it up again, when you start your wallet up again with, you know, the smart-conf file in there, you won't come up with this error. And then it'll load and you should be okay. Then at that point, you can go through, and it's going to make more sense after you see the video and after you look at the guide, of making a new address that you're going to send 10,000 smart to. And again, it can be in that same wallet. Now, as far as the VPS, I ended up using Vulture. This is an affiliate link. If you guys want to use that, if you felt like this helped you. I opted to go with it. It's only $5 a month for what you need. Or you could do a free cloud trial. You could do like Windows Azure free trial or that kind of stuff. But the only reason, you know, just know that, let's say if your trial's 2 months long and you don't like go ahead and pay, they might just delete your instance. So if you're going to go that route, just make sure that you go ahead and purchase it after that. And then secondly, another thing I want to say, like Google Cloud, they'll let you run a VPS for a year, but I was trying to mine Electronium on a Google Cloud server, and then they basically like shut my instance off and act like almost like I was running a botnet or like I was like spreading viruses or something. And I looked in the policies and it didn't say anything about that you can't mine cryptocurrencies, but maybe they're just kind of unofficially just being like, okay, they saw what was really going on, and then they just kind of putting the smack down on everybody. I don't know. So anyway, if you're not paying for the server and you're doing a free trial, you might run into issues. There's hard times. So anyway, I went with Vulture, $5 a month. If you want to use the referral link, get help. They also talk about DigitalOcean, using that like in the guide. It's up to you guys what you guys want to do. So one thing I wanted to say too is that in the guide they talk about kind of hardening the VPS as far as doing like the RSA keys and removing root access and doing firewall rules and stuff like that. If you're new to this, I would say if you actually, and it's on further down, once you get further into this, maybe down here, I mean, here's firewall rules. Those are fine. I mean, I don't think you're going to have an issue with that, but let's say this RSA keys, like creating that, and then basically doing these permissions and stuff for the keys. If you mess up or like you change a little bit of something, you can end up losing access to the server, which isn't the end of the world. You could just like throw away the instance and redo it, but it's going to be a headache. So I almost say like skip over some of this stuff, of this RSA stuff, and you know, and then like after you get the whole thing set up, then you can do a snapshot. Let's say in Vulture, you can do free snapshots. Take a snapshot of the server. Then if you go back and you do this access stuff and try to lock down the server more, and if you hose it, then you can restore from that snapshot, and that'll save you a lot of time. Otherwise, you could end up losing access, and then, you know, before you've gotten this completed, and then you're just like, oh, this is a big waste of time. So anyway, that's just, you can do what you want. You can follow this line by line and, you know, get through, and hopefully, you know, nothing goes wrong. So yeah, it's a pretty good guide, and you know, the video's really good. And then I would say the only, you know, couple situations are just kind of the stuff that I mentioned. Now here's another link. This talks about, and I have this link too in the Steemit post, that basically these are the people who've gotten rewarded with, you know, for running their SmartNode. But this person has already gotten 14 payouts from their SmartNode, and they've been running for like 8 days. I've been running for 4.5 days, and I haven't gotten one yet. So, and this is saying that 6,129 SmartNodes have been paid at least once. I'm kind of feeling left out. I haven't been paid once. So hopefully here in the next half a day to a day, I'm going to get my first payout at the very least. But some of these people are getting way more payouts, you know, than other people. But I guess that's what they, I don't know if they just hit the lottery or if they figured something out and they ended up with a bunch of payments. I have no clue. Here's another thing too. You can figure out what you're ranked and stuff like that, give you a little more information, but you can search for your address and you'll be able to find yourself in here. I have that link too. And then the other thing is, if you're going to run multiple SmartNodes on the same server, like let's say you had 5 SmartNodes you're going to run, you wouldn't really want to run 5 servers for that. So Luke Stokes did a great job. He came up with these scripts that basically you can run multiple servers off, or multiple SmartNodes off the same server. He's a real smart guy and everything. So he did the Steemit post and everything, and I linked to that in my post. And then also they've linked to it here. Scripts for managing multiple SmartNodes on one servers. But I've linked to this. This is kind of an overall thing where they have the guides. Make sure you're following the most up to date guide, whether you're doing Mac, because there's been several iterations of the Mac guide. And then there's been a couple iterations also of the Windows guides. So make sure you're following the latest ones, I would say, as far as that. And then this goes a little bit more into hardening your server, and if you want to get more into this stuff, you can do all kinds of stuff. You can set up these cron jobs, all kinds of stuff, just to make sure everything's running. Like if you look over here, mine's always just said enabled, but then some of these will actually end up saying new start required. That has not happened to mine, but you do see this SmartNode count going up. More and more SmartNodes are starting up here. So when I did this post, like literally like an hour and a half, 2 hours ago, 8,326, and then 8,353. So more and more getting added all the time. I would say try to get your SmartNode up as soon as possible. You don't have to keep the wallet running like I have running right there to run the SmartNode, if you're wondering that. It doesn't have to be on. It's just your Your VPS just has to be on 24/7, 365 and have a static IP address, static IPv version 4 address. So here's one thing I want to read. So this is from one of the developers, because people are wondering why were so many people getting these payouts and it seemed to be messed up, and then some people aren't get the payments at all. So let me just read this here. It says, after some extensive testing, the SmartNode payments appear to be working correctly now. There are some quirks when starting the network that enable the first third of nodes to get an extra payment to encourage version updates. Users should expect a payment between 5 and 10 days from starting a node going forward. We'll be releasing 1.1.1 version with some minor tweaks to reduce debugging messages and update to the Smart Rewards tab. This is not a rush release, so we will fine-tune it over the week to get it clean. Our 1.2 release will follow with instant pay, faster core code, and additional security updates. So that's good to hear. Hopefully everything is straightened out and that I will start getting my payments. They do have a Discord channel that is a lot of help and everything. If you have questions, also you can put comments, ask questions like on the Steemit post. Try to help you out as much as possible, get you to the answer, get your SmartNode up and running. But that's the main things I want to say. Like, just take your time. If you run into some kind of error messages and you're not sure, definitely ask. You don't want to lose 10,000 SmartCash and end up losing access to the wallet or something getting all messed up. So that being said, thanks for watching the video. Follow me on all social media at Brian Phobos, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Steemit. See you guys later.